Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes. I'm Lindsay Milner. This week's book is called The Stories We Live by Dan McAdams. And in essence, this is a psychology textbook. He takes us throughout the lifespan, looking at how the idea of a personal myth helps to shape our identity. And he does talk about childhood, but I'll focus on since adolescence. He explores how when we reach adolescence we begin to really sort of put some shape to our identity. We're exploring, what life's going to be like in the world of work, what kind of work we're going to do, what kind of family relationships we're going to have, whether we settle down and have a partner, whether we start a family, those kind of things. And whereas a lot of traditional psychologists talk about adolescence being the time that we shape our identity, McAdams talks about it being more of a lifelong process. It can happen at lots of different times throughout our adulthood. And I have to admit, my own life experience tells me that that's true. So I quite like that he has picked up on that point. Doesn't sort of go with the view that, once you decide what you're going to do as a teenager, that's kind of it. He talks about whether we are mostly agentic or whether we focus more on communion. And by those terms, what he means is, do we do a lot of things for personal autonomy and power and achievement, or do we focus more on personal relationships, the community that we live partly with? So it's, in one respect, it's the difference between work life and home life, and how he explores, or how we explore, the tension between those things, because sometimes when you're focusing on one, you're not really paying enough attention to the other, and it can be quite difficult to resolve that tension. He talks as well about what he calls Imagos. I don't know if it's Imagos or Imagos, but it's image but with an O at the end, which essentially is characters that we create that sort of form our personal myth, whether we see ourselves as a teacher or a healer or a caregiver or a warrior. Those kind of characters that we create, whether we see ourselves as a survivor, that all helps to shape our identity. Now, I felt that he didn't really talk very much about how to deal with it if you felt that your identity wasn't fully formed, if you weren't happy with your identity, if it didn't feel congruent in some way. I felt that wasn't really addressed throughout the book, although I guess that wasn't really his aim. He does that. One of the chapters towards the end is about exploring your personal myth, and he does talk in that about that development of that self-understanding can help us if we do feel that we want to move forwards because we're not happy with how we are at the moment. And I thought that was a really interesting idea, so much so that I'm actually going to take that and run with it for my dissertation, for my master's programme. But I kind of felt that there was some mileage in what he was saying, that exploring, improving your self-understanding would help you to make changes if that's what you want to do to move forwards. So I do plan to do some research on that to find out if it is true. It feels as if it should be true. Should you read this book? Well, it is an academic textbook, so really only if you like academic books. I wouldn't recommend it if you're not generally happy reading academic textbooks. It is a thought-provoking read. I do like the concept that he's putting by, and if you are interested in developing your self-understanding by investigating your own story, then yes, it could well be worth your time. So that's this week's book, The Stories We Live by Dan McAdams. If you want more content like this, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to give this video a like as well, and I will see you next time. Bye.